Ever since Dahlia was taken to the Holt house, he wasn't supposed to talk to her, not even look her way. He looked anyway. She was hard not to see. Even if he closed his eyes, erasing her like a gust of wind, the picture still hung there. By the time she was 16, she'd blossomed. If someone saw him looking, he'd be strapped good. He wanted to grow old like Papa Sap one day, so he only sneaked glances her way when no one else was around. Oline was the only one he couldn't fool. "She don't belong to us no more," she'd say before snatching his arm in the other direction. She one of them now. Them being the Holt sisters, Annabelle and Leslie. There were 3 of them with Dahlia thrown into the bunch. He'd worried about Dahlia, so he never stopped watching over her. Hey guys, I'm back again. I'm here with a review of What Passes as Love by Trisha R. Thomas. Okay, so this is a book that takes place in 1850s in the South, and our main character is called Dahlia Holt, alias Lily Dove. And she is a young woman who grows up on this plantation, never knowing who her real mother was, never knowing whatever happened to her mother, and only knowing that her father is the master, the white man up in the plantation house. So Dahlia is basically one day around the age of 16 whisked away to go live in the big house with no word, no understanding of what's happening to her. So the only people that she knows and loves are literally being she's being ripped away from them. So Dahlia then goes on to live in the house as sort of a playmate servant to 2 sisters, 2 daughters of the master. So we see how she's poorly treated by these 2 sisters, especially one of them. She's treated very, very poorly by that particular sister. The only person she gets any kind of love from is this woman in the house who's going to be the grandmother, the mother of the master of the house, and her name is Mother Rose or Miss Rose. And Mother Rose is the only person that treats Dahlia well to some extent. So the story goes on, and one day the 3 girls, so the 2 daughters and Dahlia and Mother Rose, they go into town and they are going on a particular errand to do some shopping. And at one point, Mother Rose separates some girls. She says, "Okay, y'all can go like look around. I'm just going to be right back out." By the time Mother Rose comes out, the town is in shambles. There's a robbery that has happened. They're looking for the robbers. So they're telling everyone to get off the streets. They don't want anyone else hanging around town. So while this is happening, somehow Dahlia has been separated from the 2 daughters and befriended by a young man and his brother, his older brother. Turns out this young man falls in love with Dahlia, and when Dahlia says that her name is Lily Dove and that, she has no family, he says, "Well, come with us. We'll take care of you," whatever. So from this moment, she starts to pass, because at no point in time do these 2 white men think that she's black. So she clearly looks like a full-blown white woman when in fact she's black. So she kind of gets coerced into passing, and once she's in it, she can't really get out of it because she's a slave. So if she gets out of it, she's going to wind up probably with poor treatment and back at the plantation with worse treatment. So she goes on with it, and the story shoots off. So that's just to give you some little backstory of what's going on in the story. Now, I found this story very interesting because this is based off of a true story. The author, Trisha R. Thomas, was looking through some archives and saw a picture of 3 girls, and she decided to tell the story of one of these girls. And this is so done, I think it's done very well, because she shows how this main character goes from being totally naive and totally sheltered. She becomes more and more perceptive the way people lie, treat people badly, they're vindictive. She sees it. She starts to grow and change as time goes on in the book. The dialogue is written really well. And another thing that's really good is that this story, it does not focus on the plantation workings. It focuses on the people. And I think that's really refreshing. And the idea that we're getting the story of living in a plantation from a woman who's passing gives a whole new twist on the idea of passing, but also on what's really going on in the house, some of the relationships and things like that. It's very, very good. There's only one thing in here that was a disappointment, and I would love to ask the author why she did this, but there was something that happened in the story that she didn't exploit more, and I would love to know what was the reason behind her not exploiting this particular part of the story, because I think if she would have, it would have added more suspense to the story, because there are moments where she tries to add some suspense and there are some twists and turns, and this one particular element, she doesn't do that. And I was wondering why she didn't, explore that aspect. This is a very fast read. I pretty much read it in 2 days. It's not extremely long, but it is 337 pages long. But the style of writing is it's descriptive, it's lively, and it's a story that is engaging. I highly recommend it. Lily Dove or Dahlia, whichever one you prefer, is an interesting character. She can be naive at times, but that's one thing that she has going for her, is that she is stubborn, and she does not give up very easily. And you see how she is pushed and pulled and in all different directions from the slaves and the white people, and it really shows that dichotomy of how she is torn between 2 worlds in a really painful way, and at a very painful period of history of what to do. Like, it's clear that she will never be a full member of either group, and that's what makes it such a I think it makes it kind of a sad story, that she can never really fit in, that she's always going to be an outcast. She's damned if she does, she's damned if she doesn't. People misjudge her because of her ability to move within both worlds. It has nothing necessarily to do with her actions. And it's a really interesting aspect of this particular story, because it's not really what you expect in a story written about slavery, written during slavery times. So this is another interesting story that's based on reality. This seems to be something that is growing and shaping the idea of writing a story during slavery times. I think it's an interesting aspect. We had earlier in the year, we had Yellow Wife, which did similar thing. She took something that was a character that was real, the person that was real from the past, and brought them to life in the book. This is exactly what Trisha R. Thomas did. This is exactly what Vanessa Riley does in Island Queen. This is also what Dolan Perkin Valdez does in Winch. And I find that is bringing a more interesting dynamic to the slavery narrative. So I highly recommend this one. I think I gave this one between a 3.5, about a 3.5. Very good read. And this is her first historical fiction novel, because Trisha R. Thomas is known for have written the Napoli Ever After series. I think it's 4 or 5 books in the series, which was very, very popular when they came out. It was contemporary writing. Just dropped September 1st. What Passes as Love by Trisha R. Thomas. So that's all I have for you today. Bye.